Here's Akinola again. Ayo Akinola scores his second of the night. Toronto retakes the lead. Akinola the other way as Raitala fell down. Ayo Akinola is in for a hat trick.
Has a little look around, has so much time to think about it, and then, oh yeah, that is lovely.
Rolled in, Jossie Zardes onside. Jossie Zardes has scored again. 70th career regular season goal for Jossie Zardes.
Goals for days. What is up, everybody? Welcome on into MLS Today, presented by AT&T. I'm Susanna Collins, so pleased to be joined by my guy, Kalen Carr. Oh, my goodness. The games just continue to deliver, don't they? I mean, we saw an incredible performance from Ayo Akinola for Toronto. Jossie Zardes continuing to have an outstanding tournament. Are we having fun yet, Kalen?
Well, I knew the games were going to get better as the tournament went on, and but last night I thought was two of the better matches that we have seen so far. So, hey, there's still more to come, Susanna. We've got a triple header tonight, so get ready for that.
I've got to gear up, and there's two games that are going to be played at the same time. So this is going to be. I'm already stressing about the mental energy that this is going to take to keep both of them up on my screens.
Ease your way
I know.
into it.
Exactly. Yeah, guys, we're going to get to all of the action, but let's take a look. This is going to be fun. Let's take a look at the 538 odds to win the darn thing. So right now, I'm kind of surprised by some of this. So LAFC leading the way at 17%, but then Columbus, who has been one of the best teams, only at 6%, Toronto at 8%, Philadelphia at 9%. I'm these numbers to me, I don't really agree with, Caitlin.
Philadelphia.
I know they're the experts.
A point. They went up a point last night, and Columbus did not. So I don't really know how this always adjusts. And then you look at Chicago at the same percentage as Columbus after what we've seen so far. I'm just not sure about that. But, these things are meant to change. So we got to stay tuned to, 538 to find out more. But I picked Philadelphia before this, so...
Yes,
9% right now, second place. I'll take it.
I know. You're very proud of that pick. Good for you, Kaylin. Yeah. All right, let's get to the highlights from last night, shall we? Starting with the Canadian Classique, and that would be Montreal taking on Toronto FC. This was cool. This was a little viewing party that they set up at BMO Field, socially distanced. You love to see it. And Toronto, man. In the 9th minute, and Richie Laryea.
Yeah,
snipe.
We're used to seeing him on the right side of the
snipe.
pitch. Starts on the left, and what a strike there when he cuts it back on the right.
Incredible
makes
strike.
No mistake. No chance there.
So this one just went back and forth, and then in the 14th minute, Montreal answers. And this pass right here to Ramel Kyoto is superb. And then Kyoto with the smooth finish ties this one up. So let's head to the 25th minute, which would be the first of many goals for this young kid, the 20-year-old Ayo Akinola. Oh, hello.
Hey, Brampton, stand up. No Jonathan Osorio, but he told me when I did a movement episode there years ago, there's a lot of talent coming out of Brampton in that TFC academy, and we are finding that out fast right now.
So this was the penalty against Mavinga, and then Safir Taider ties this one up. But then, oh gosh, here he comes again. Ayo Akinola with the assist from that guy, Alejandro Pozuelo, who has just been absolutely incredible for TFC as well. But what a nice little finish here, too.
Yeah, shows his strength there, the pacing behind. Good first touch to lead him towards goal. And this was the one was the...
This is my favorite.
You could see the confidence here, right? I mean, he shows
Look
the strength here.
Get out!
Shakes him off. But then takes his time, just has that moment of pause.
Oh, and then a great
when you have
little
two
finish.
goals in a match and you're on a hat trick, they say the third one is easier. I don't know, but it looked easy for him there. He made it look easy.
Unbelievable. He really did, and that hip check was just NHL-esque, which I always love. But check out the stat from ESPN. This was a hat trick for the 20-year-old, the third player in MLS history with a hat trick before his 21st birthday, and the first player born in 2000 or later with an MLS hat trick. I mean, he has just been one of the standout performers in this tournament. Look at this. He is leading the Golden Boot presented by Audi race. 5 goals in 2 games. Right behind him, Jazzy Zardes and Chris Mueller, who we're actually going to talk to later on in this show. But I cannot say enough about how impressive, especially in the absence of Jozy Altidore, Ayo Akinola is having his moment. And here's Greg Vanney on Ayo's performance after the game.
Yeah, for, Ayo over the last few years, he's, with the U.S. teams internationally, he's been playing on the wing. I've always viewed him as a striker. In his head, he's always been trying to come to grips, I think, with just who he is at the professional level and what he's going to be most successful at as a professional. And for us, it's always a center striker who plays between the center backs or off of the one center back tonight because they played in a back three, who uses his power and his speed and his aggressiveness in front of goal because he has soft feet. He can hold things up, but he's so powerful and fast. And I always envision him as this guy, the guy that he is showing now. And I think just over the last little bit, for the last year and a half or 2 years, it's really he's been getting his head wrapped around this is who he is, and he's gotten himself fit. He's worked incredibly hard in the preseason. He just looks like he loves playing soccer. Not a lot of players in the league really know Ayo yet, and usually by the end of a game, most center backs have met him quick, and usually that's in some sort of physical confrontation. I see a lot of guys, even in the last couple games, and we've seen it in training, that they try to put their body into Ayo, and they find out that he's a lot stronger than maybe you anticipated, and guys hit the ground fast. And so Ayo's very well aware of how strong he is. He uses his body well, and he looks for contact. Before he deals with the ball, he's looking to put his body in on people, and that's also an incredible trait for a striker like him.
Powerful, speed, aggressiveness. I mean, I loved hearing what Greg Vanney had to say about Ayo Akinola. What is it about his game that you've enjoyed watching, Kalen? Why is he having this moment in the tournament?
I think he looks confident. That's number one, and he's got some good qualities. But I would say the intelligence of his runs have been the things that have stood out the most to me, because it is one thing if you are strong, but it is another thing if you have the qualities to make it count. And the way he's been able to disguise some of his runs, the way he's been able to kind of get lost in between the center backs has been really impressive. I mean, here he adjusts his run and moves to the back post. He's in a bit early, thinks he's getting that initial ball, and then he just sort of shuffles his feet and moves to the back post. Pozuelo puts it there. But the work he does ahead of time really gets him there. And then here, again, he's just sort of on Wanyama's back shoulder. He's lost. He has no idea. Wanyama has no idea where he is. And then Binks is not going to be able to keep up with him here. He does a valiant effort here and tries to put a body in, but just a little bit too much there from Ayo. And this is a great header here to get in behind for. But, again, he's just on that back shoulder. And Binks has no idea he's there. So, yes, he's strong, but the fact that he's hidden and ghosting in that back post or behind that back shoulder is why he's able to surprise him. And then just a small thing here. He picks his head up, looks over, doesn't seem rushed, shuffles his feet a little bit, waiting for Diop to come out and slide, and then just lifts it over. So you can see the confidence, but I think the maturity as far as understanding when and where to make the right run. One of my best managers has told me growing up, talking about a great striker knows how to get lost, and he's finding himself where teams aren't necessarily knowing where he is in between those two gaps. Who is responsible for him? And then when he appears, it's too late. And so Ayo has shown some really bright things, but I think the intelligence to understand positioning and the relationship with Pozuelo has gotten him 5 goals. So he's on fire right now.
Yeah, I love that. We haven't seen Jozy Altidore in this tournament, but at this point, it almost feels like it doesn't matter. And while Jozy has said that he is 100% fit, he is ready to play. Does Ayo's performance give Toronto a little bit of flexibility in terms of when they can bring Jozy back and kind of play it safe with him?
I think they would do that no matter what. I think they've kind of come into the tournament with the idea that they're going to protect Jozy. We know it's injury history in the past, and this is a difficult challenge for any player in MLS, so that they're going to be cautious with him no matter what. But it does make you feel a lot better, and it might let you take a little bit more of your time. And the team has put themselves in a good position. I think we've seen how important Pozuelo has been. I think 5 assists of the 6 goals have been directly from him.
That is a true stat, yes.
Yeah, they're in a good spot right now, so they can afford to be a little bit cautious, not just with Josie, but I think with Osorio as well. And then when you see them advancing maybe into the knockout stages, you'd like to see them get some minutes in this third match. I think that it's a more of a controlled environment where it's not maybe necessarily do or die. And so if they could get a couple minutes in this one, next one, I think it would help them going forward, but they can also take their time.
All right, let's take a look at the Group C standings as it is right now. Toronto leading the way with 4 points, followed by New England, DC. Montreal, 0 points collected in their first 2 matches. Kaylin, what does Montreal need to do? Is this just a case of them being kind of a work in progress? Has Thierry Henry not really had enough time to sort of implement his style of play with these guys? What needs to happen?
Well, so I saw some really good stuff from them going from back to front, and Kyoto was dangerous and obviously gets that really nice goal, turning them around, but even the way they moved the ball through the lines and were able to create opportunities was good. The issue has been in the back, and that's going to happen anytime you concede 4 goals in a match, and you would like to think that 3 goals would at least get you a point. That wasn't the case here. They went with 3 in the back, and Binks, I think, had some trouble, but I think with some time, Montreal will be able to get things back. Now, the big criticism Henry had from the first match was the lack of competitiveness and that kind of effort. We clearly saw a response in this match, and so I think while they didn't take any points, there were some positives to move on with.
All right, well, let's take a look at the remaining schedule for this group and see what we have coming up to look forward to. And yeah, I mean, these are going to be some interesting matchups. The DC, especially coming off of that sort of dramatic come from behind result, I'm interested to see what they can do against New England. I think that's going to be a really good one to watch tonight. So looking forward to that. Lots of games on tap for you. Time now for our AT&T call to the field, and for that, we bring in one of the stars of the tournament so far from Orlando City, Chris Mueller. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Another day in the bubble. Just enjoying my time. We had training today, so I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be here and just excited to keep playing. So thanks for having me on.
Of course. Let's talk about your hot start. Not only personally, you've got 3 goals in 2 games for Orlando, but 2 wins to go along with it. You guys are moving on to the next round. What is behind this hot start for both you and the club?
I think that we got a group of guys who worked really hard during this quarantine period. I think we got in a really good coaching staff who has provided us with kind of an identity and brought in a lot of ideas and implemented them very well. I think that we have a clear cut understanding of what every guy's individual job is, and collectively I think that when you look at the quality we have across the board, that we're really building some belief here. And I think winning that first game was definitely huge in just the sense that it gave us some confidence moving forward and provided us with some of that belief that I'm talking about, that we knew that we had a good team, but to go out and get results, and especially in a rivalry game against Miami to kick off the tournament, I think that was just what we needed. And then heading into New York City, I think that that confidence was kind of just buzzing about all of us, and we were able to go out and get another good result. So I think all in all, it's just kind of coming together, and we're just working hard and believe in what we're doing.
We've heard Oscar Perea talk a lot about culture. It's a word that he uses a lot. When he has stepped in, how have you seen maybe the cultural shift between last year to this year, and is that playing an effect already in the results?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just a group who is a little bit more together in that sense. I think that the culture he's brought in, I think all in all, it's just bringing us, like I said, that sort of confidence and that belief that we can actually do something special, and that we have such a good group. I think that Oscar and the whole coaching staff is extremely honed in on, like I said, what they're trying to do. They have an identity. They know what they want to implement, and their ideas are good, and they know with good players who are focused and bought into the system that that we can be successful here in Orlando, and I think that that's what we're showing.
Well, Chris, as I mentioned, 3 goals in 2 games for Orlando City in the MLS's is back tournament. Your performance is starting to create a little bit of buzz, a little Chris Mueller for the U.S. men's national team. How do you react to that kind of talk when you see that sort of starting to happen on social media? What's your reaction?
Honestly, I'm just trying to continue to play my game and not really focus too much on the hype. I know that nothing's really happened yet, and I just want to continue to play my football and take it game by game, right? It's easy to get caught up in that stuff if you read it and look into it a lot, and obviously it feels good to go in and score goals and help my team win, which is ultimately what I love to do. But I think that all of those things will come in due time as long as I stay focused on the task that I have at hand to just keep playing my best game and focus that throughout the tournament. You know, you just got to take it one game at a time. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Got to keep my feet on the ground and just keep pushing myself.
What are some of the things that you're focusing on in your development, and what do you think is maybe behind some of the success that you're having right now?
Individual things that I've been working on, a little bit of decision making in the final third. I think that maybe being a little bit better in possession sometimes when I look at some of my performances from last year, just being a little bit more mature in that sense and taking care of the ball, being in the right spots, knowing when to go in behind, knowing when to check into the pocket, when to take more than 1 and 2 touches. I think that that's just all things that you kind of learn from experience and just from playing those games and getting good game minutes. But then again, like I said with Oscar, I think that I have a manager now who gives me a sense of belief, and he makes me feel like he believes in me. He gives me a lot of confidence to go out and to play my game and to just be who I am. And I think that that's why I'm seeing some good results on the pitch now, and just gotta keep it going.
Chris, your next matchup is against the Philadelphia Union, who are also having a really solid tournament so far. I think anybody that was looking at these sort of matchups leading into this tournament would have pegged Orlando City as the underdog, not only in the tournament, but this match against Philly. Do you guys still think that you're the underdog here?
I don't know. I think that we're definitely starting to turn some heads a little bit, but I mean, I think that being the underdog is a good thing. I've grown up as the underdog my whole life, and I actually just recently read a book called The Underdog Advantage, so I could definitely look at some advantages that we can take going into a match where we're kind of seen as that underdog, kind of seen as someone who maybe shouldn't be winning games and shouldn't be doing this and that, but I think that that's just fuel to the fire, and, you know, that's something that you got to use to your advantage, because at the end of the day, that's what it can be if you see it that way. So I think that that's a good thing. If, you know, you're underestimated and people don't expect you to do well, I think that definitely you can start to keep doing the right things and turning even more shoulders and more heads.
Chris, we've looked at some of the more unique challenges to the MLS's back tournament, and a lot of it keeps coming down to the heat, heat and humidity. This is something that, being in Orlando, you guys would be well accustomed to at this point. Do you think that has been able to work to your advantage and allow you to continue to grow into games and have the early success that you've had so far?
I mean, honestly, the heat is tough for everybody. I mean, I've been here for 3 years now, and I can tell you that I still haven't really acclimated to the heat and gotten used to the training that I do on a day-to-day basis. So I think that it is a tough challenge. I think that there's a lot of challenges that are presenting themselves right now, and I think it's important just to keep your focus on the things that, you know, will bring you success ultimately. Obviously, the heat is tough, but I think that they've been doing good by giving us a decent amount of water breaks, and obviously the time schedules and when they're playing games, I think, has also helped. So it definitely is no joke that it is hot, but I don't think that anybody can necessarily say there's more of an advantage to that, because I still don't feel acclimated to the weather for sure.
Says
feel
the
that
guy
from
wearing
Houston.
a hoodie and a beanie.
Yeah, you got a
I can hear
beanie
it.
on.
Yeah, I just got out of the ice bath, so I'm freezing. You know. It's,
Okay, I was gonna say that's intimidation. You see Philly walking down.
Yeah,
the
no.
I
hallway
was
and
like,
they're
wow.
These Orlando guys are wearing beanies down here, man.
This is
We're in
this
trouble.
is a this is a statement. Chris, before I let you go, I know a couple years ago you and I had a chance to play a little golf together down in Orlando.
Yeah.
Have you been able to work on your golf game? How's it going? Because you were pretty darn good back then. Have you gotten even better?
It's not much better, no, honestly.
I don't believe you.
It actually is really hard to, well, during the summertime especially, it's really hard to play golf because you can't go after training. It's just literally too
Yeah.
hot for me. I feel like I'd be doing more damage just getting super dehydrated out there than any good because my golf game needs some work for sure. But I think the time will come where I can get some real lessons and maybe start to improve, you know. But it's been good. It's fun. I like being down here.
You were way better than I was, so that's not saying much. But Chris, thank you so much for the time. Best of luck in the rest of the tournament. We can't wait to watch you back out there. Love seeing you shine.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, let's get back to some highlights, shall we, Kalen Carr? Because
Let's do
the
it.
second match of
I
last
felt
night,
the love
we had
there.
the Red
Schaumburg,
Bulls.
Illinois.
Oh,
represent.
listen, I love Chris Mueller so much. You know what else I love? Jazzy Zardes. When he finishes like this, because it's so fun to watch. He's having such a good tournament.
Yeah, he took it well. Just lively here. Just basically just comes back on side. And, oh, Derek Etienne Jr. is so close. I know you wanted that one against his former side.
I know. That was
But
that
hey,
was a
this
tough
was
one.
nice here. Shows some patience here. Can stays in the match. Nice little square ball to Zelarayan, who does the rest. And, of course, we have to use the Skycam. Well, it's not even a Skycam or a blimp. It's this drone, right?
It is just, I
Thing's just
love it. I
floating up
could
there.
watch this all day. It's so pretty. That was the second goal of the tournament for Zelarayan, by the way. 5 combined goals and assists in 4 games for the crew. So he's playing
This would have
extremely
been
well.
my
This
goal of the
was,
tournament, by the way.
if this had gone in, are you kidding me? Look at that. And just that crossbar can be so cruel. Oh,
I'm still
Mukhtar,
upset this didn't go in. I'm not
so
normally,
close.
I'm not rooting for either team, but I wanted that one to hit the back of the net. That was
so
amazing
very
from Mukhtar.
close.
Not a bad
So
option
very
off the bench
close.
in this one.
No, not at all. So there we have it. Columbus taking all 3 points in that game against the Red Bulls. They are in the driver's seat in Group E. Look at that. They are going to be advancing to the next round. The Red Bulls behind them with 3 points. And Cincinnati, we talked about it yesterday. This is not really at all how I thought that this group was going to look at this point. But there you have it. Wow. I'm still in shock over the Cincy Atlanta result. Crazy.
That was a big one for Cincy, and it will make it a little bit maybe more complicated for New York Red Bull. But look, I don't think this is that surprising when you look at the group. Now, you would expect Atlanta to maybe be still in the mix, which it doesn't really look like they are so much anymore. But Columbus coming in, I think a lot of people had talked about how good they could be. And so far through 2 matches, yes, the first one against Cincinnati, but Cincinnati, went on and had a good result after. And then they really, I think, took a big step forward and let people know against New York that this team is for real.
All right. Well, Caleb Porter actually rotated his squad quite a bit between the first game and the second game. Here's what he had to say.
And, it's difficult when you rotate too much because the continuity just isn't there. And I thought we got it right in terms of enough rotation, which meant we had some fresh legs, some energy. I think that showed up in the match. But also we had a lot of stability with key players who are experienced, who could, dig in and get the job done in and around some younger guys. This was a different type of game for us. It's never easy playing New York. They're very effective in what they do well. It's about direct play, first and second balls, winning aerial duels, and
sometimes doing those things isn't necessarily the most fun thing, especially when you have a soccer team like we have, a team that wants to play on the ground, a team that wants to control games with the ball.
Greg Berhalter's son was one of the guys getting his very first MLS start last night. So there were three of those. So the constant, though, Greg Berhalter did mix it up, but the constant that we see are guys like Giazzi, Zelarayan, and Darlington Nagbe. And I know that for you, Kaylin, it's Giazzi, is the guy that's going to put the ball in the back of the net, as with Zelarayan. But Darlington, you can't understate the importance of the work that Darlington Nagbe does in that midfield for Columbus.
Yeah, I would add Mensah to that list. I mean, the way Porter made his changes, we're kind of eating around it, but they kept that spine really strong. But yeah, you're right, Susanna. Darlington is a special player. And if you just take a look at some of these things here, I mean, just the way that he sort of bounces the ball off people and then shifts and changes direction. He switches the point of attack. Here he's kind of running around in circles.
This is just
doing as he pleases. Then the 1-2. It's the pass that creates the pass to the goal, right? And sometimes you're not always going to get credit for that. But basically, there's no one better in possession in North America, really. And he's just a really special player, the way he can lower the shoulder and dip and turn and twist. This possession with Darlington will end when he says it's over. That's basically the type of control that he has, a special player. And you have to give a ton of credit to Caleb Porter. Of course, he has always kind of gotten the best out of Darlington, and I know he's happy to be home. But when you look at that midfield three with Darlington, Artur, and Zelarayan, that's got to be one of the best in the league.
Yeah, it's been pretty special to watch, and they are definitely, I think, a favorite in this tournament. Let's take a look at the standings for Group E, and Columbus, like I said, just in the driver's seat. They will be advancing to the next rounds, but who will join them? It's a head scratcher. It's a head scratcher. And speaking of head scratching, time now for MLS Predict 6 presented by BetMGM. It's a free-to-play game by Major League Soccer. Correctly predict the outcomes of the 6 featured matches along with secondary predictions, and you can win $50,000. Head on over to MLSPredict6.com and play for free. Round 3 opening at noon. But we're gonna give you our picks today. So, Kaylin, I'm gonna let you go first. Who are you picking?
Well, Suze, I gotta think about this a little bit. I think I'm gonna go with. Are we picking the who's gonna win this
So your
next match,
initial
or?
pick, yeah, you're gonna have like a game that you're
I'm gonna
pick
stick with Philadelphia.
Who wins.
I'm going to stick with Philadelphia. I know we just had
Okay.
Chris on. I hope he's gone to the treatment table and isn't watching anymore. But I just think Philly coming in, I picked to top Group A. I'm not going to change that now. I think the experience, I've said it a million times, but the experience and the balance of youth will see them through. I know there's going to be shifts in that last match, as there will be rotations, and I think Philly has the depth to carry them through to top the group.
Okay, what about your... Oh, my pick. So I'm going to go with that Atlanta-Columbus game, and I'm sticking with the hot hand. I'm going Columbus all the way. Atlanta have looked like they don't really have a lot of answers right now, and I just think that Columbus is in such a rhythm. I think it would be silly to not pick them. So I am going Columbus Crew over Atlanta. What about your secondary pick, Kaylin?
My secondary pick is going to be from the RSL Sporting Kansas City match, and it's the first player to score. And I'm taking Alan Pulido because he looked amazing in that first match. Yes, he didn't get on the score sheet, but I think that is about to change. I think he's such an amazing player. We saw his quality outside the box, but in the box is really where he makes the difference. So if I'm picking a player to score in this match, it's got to be Pulido.
Okay. For my secondary pick, I'm going to that Seattle-Vancouver matchup. The first team to score, I'm going with the Seattle Sounders, because I think that they have not had a good tournament, but they always seem to find a way to come up with a big result when it matters, and I think that is going to be the case for this game, and I think that they will start out hot, score first, and that's my secondary pick. I feel good about it. I feel real good about it.
We'll find out.
We will find out. Guys, we have a crazy, crazy evening of soccer lined up for you. Is this our first triple header of the tournament?
Well, I
Woo!
mean, they've all been triple
It's
headers,
intense.
but this close together, absolutely.
This is wild. So we've got DC taking on New England and Sporting Kansas City taking on Colorado. Both of those games are at 8 p.m. Eastern. But you can watch on ESPN and ESPN Plus. So I suggest having your TV screen up and then your laptop, so maybe you can keep track of both of those games. And then our late nightcap, we've got RSL against Minnesota. That game at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. So one thing to watch, Kaylin, in each of these matches, and we're going to start with that DC New England. I think for this match, the one thing to watch is, will Pipa Higuain start for DC? Because you pointed this out. When he came on, I know they're trying to use him as a super sub, but when he came on, he changed the whole game for DC. So that's a question. Maybe they just start about.
Well, the question is, 35-year-old, do you want to start him in the heat and humidity? And we saw how effective he was off the bench, but when you look at DC's kind of struggles otherwise to create and connect between the lines and create chances for Ola Kamara, you'd have to think that Pipa Higuain might be a tempting option to go from the start. And he just has so much quality. Obviously here shows he can get on the end of things, but it will be really more the chance creation side of things. Is why I think he might be a compelling option to go from the start.
All right, moving along to SKC against Colorado. Tim Melia will not be available for Sporting Kansas City. What does that mean? That's what I'm watching. What is this going to mean for SKC?
Well, the SKC, the last match was kind of a crazy one because when Tim Melia went out, it was almost like two different teams. There was the first Sporting that we saw that was, really had control of the match and was playing through Pulido and finding great moments throughout the match, and then the red card really changed things. So the question is which Sporting Kansas City team will we see? And Sanchez will be in goal, of course, but I think we're going to see that first team, that same side that we saw before, and playing through Pulido, Kyrie Shelton. I've seen through the past how Vermees has used strikers like that, whether it's Kai Kamara, Sapong, or these guys on the wing, and his connection with Pulido has been really strong so far. Maybe we see Johnny Russell from the start, so I think a lot going for Sporting Kansas City. We have yet to see a full match of the best of them because of that red card, but I think we may see that tonight.
Okay. And finally, RSL Minnesota. I am watching. It's kind of the same question that we had about Sporting Kansas City, but this one for Minnesota. Which team are we going to see against RSL? The team that showed up a little bit lifeless early on in their first match, or the team that came on strong late against Sporting Kansas City? Who's it going to be?
It'd be interesting to see. I mean, part of the change that happened, obviously was having the man advantage, but then Aaron Schoenfeld stepped in as well and really brought them some life. It'll be interesting to monitor that number 9 spot and see if Mason Toye is healthy enough to start. I would stick with what they did. I know it didn't necessarily work, but I thought Schoenfeld was a nice option off the bench, and I would keep Toye as the number 9 to begin with. And kind of run it back and see what happens. But Salt Lake, give them a lot of credit. They have not been conceding goals. I think a bunch of shutouts now, so they're going to be tough to stop. I think the first 20 minutes of this match, I'm going to be watching to see who can be better from the start, because RSL came out really well and started really positive last match.
Yeah, should be a good one. Guys, make sure you join us tomorrow for the show at 11 a.m. It's going to be David Goss and Brian Dunseth holding it down. And Frankie Amaya, the big goal scorer for FC Cincinnati, he is going to be joining the show as well, so you don't want to miss it. You can watch that on MLSsoccer.com, Twitter, and Facebook. MLS Today presented by AT&T. Guys, enjoy the triple header tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, all that good stuff. We'll see you soon.